Hello, Robert. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Explain how you became a chief.
Yes, my title is Chief of Tourism. For those who don't know me, my name is Rashad McCrorey. I'm the owner of Africa Cross Culture. We organize trips to the African countries of Egypt, Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, Rwanda, and Uganda. And as Robert knows well, I moved to Ghana in 2020 during the pandemic. I was on a group trip to Ghana during the pandemic, and instead of going back to the United States, I decided to stay in Ghana. And since then, I've joined the family. I became a contributing member of the community. And about 2 years after that, April of 2022, they blessed me with the honor of Chief of Tourism. And I was adopted by all of Elmina. So I'm actually responsible for tourism to all of Elmina. For those who don't know Elmina, Elmina is the home of the Elmina Slave Dungeon, the first original door of no return.
And I think it's great because one of the most important things, as somebody who's a Pan Africanist believes, is that we have to start reconnecting with our roots there, not just as tourists, but becoming part and entrenched into the culture to understand that it's not just about showing up and taking pictures, but about understanding the community, the language, the religion, becoming a part of who we were. What's the most kind of enlightening thing that you've learned during your time there?
Well, in terms of today's time, I learned that violence isn't always the answer. In the United States, violence is something that people use to resolve problems. We hear violence in music, violence on television all the time. And what I learned through various cultures in Africa, and specifically Ghana, violence is not always the answer. People can have real bad arguments where they say really nasty things to each other, but it doesn't end in violence. The music is based on love, even if it's based on intimate relations. It's never based on violence. And I know your audience is this is an ATL radio station, Atlanta radio station. Just like Andre 3000 just put out an album just playing the flute, just like old school jazz music, just good vibrations. Here in Ghana, I don't hear any drill music. I don't hear any music about harming each other, killing each other, using drugs, hurting people. It's just a vibe of love here that I think back in the United States we can really use a higher frequency based on love, family, and helping each other.
That's great. Now, pursuant to that, tell us about the fundraising initiative you're working on right now.
Yes. The fundraising I have now is called Revitalize Elmina School. You can find it on GoFundMe.com. Just go to the search engine and put Revitalize Elmina School. There's many schools and many organizations that are in need in Ghana. And part of my role in Chief of Tourism is actually helping the future, our children. And this school is so many good teachers, so many good staff members who care, but the infrastructure is falling apart. One prime example, I went to the school to speak to the school just last week, Robert. And when I was standing in the classroom waiting to speak, I was like, there's so much sun in my eyes. Why is there sun in my eyes? Then I looked up. The sun was coming through the hole in the roof. So imagine what that hole in the roof does when it's raining. The classrooms get flooded every time it rains. The windows are broken. They're boarded up poorly. So mosquitoes and all other types of bugs, flies come in and out the school regularly. The floorboards are broken up, which are safety hazards for the students and the faculty. And it's a school that's so much in need because they have the human capital. They have caring, loving, smart individuals teaching the children, but the infrastructure is breaking down. So that's where I come in. I'm looking to raise funds for the collective good in the United States. The fundraiser is of $3,238, which is the GoFundMe. Is going towards repairing these roofs so the classrooms won't flood, repairing the doors, repairing the windows, repairing the floorboards, to give these students a learning environment where they don't have to worry about so many different distractions. And I'm hoping that we can come together and raise this money quickly, as it's not much for the collective good. So if you go to GoFundMe.com and you put in Revitalize Elmina School in the search engine, it should come right up. And the first thing you'll see as far as our main picture is one of the basically horrific jobs that's been done by carpenters to board some of the schools up. And what we want to do is we're in the process of using the best not only carpenters but masons to really put the school together well so the students can focus on learning and not on just distractions such as every time it rains, the classroom gets flooded.
And so talk a little bit about, because I know we're going to have some of our FBA and ADOS friends say, well, why do we need to build schools in Africa instead of building schools in America? Don't we have problems here? Talk about why it's important for us to be investing in where we came from, in addition to investing here, that it should not be an either-or situation.
Yes, because in all, we're in the collective good. It's my firm belief that we're all one people. I know we have ADS. I know we have FBA. Me personally, I'm black. I'm foundational Black American. That's what I do identify as. My mother and my father, born and raised in South Carolina. I was born in New York City. They met in South Carolina. My parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, and as far as we can go back, all resonate from South Carolina. Again, my mother and father, they met in New York City, so I'm born and raised in Harlem, New York. And I was raised with a Black empowerment, African spirituality mindset. My father, at a young age, taught me libations. They taught me about the great kings and queens of Africa. I look at the controversies now, like Denzel Washington playing Hannibal the Great. Hannibal the Great was a poster on my wall back in the 1980s when I was as young as 5 years old. You know, a lot of times they whitewash our history, and then when we come back to try to reclaim it, they cite whitewash European history of Cleopatra, of Hannibal the Great. So it's important to know that this is where we come from, and anytime we speak on things like the collective mind, it all resonates from both the United States and of Africa, because unfortunately, us as Black Americans, ADOS, Caribbean Americans, anybody who do live in the United States of America, that is not our original home in terms of what many people believe. I know that there's a lot of people who believe that we were in America before the Mayflower, before the Thanksgiving holidays, that we were the original Indians, but we're still all one people. And unless it's over money or land, you don't really catch Europeans fighting each other like that. Just like Ukraine will be rebuilt in a matter of years after this war is done, just like Israel will be rebuilt after these wars done. When they trounced through Africa and broke up these roads and destroyed these sewage drains and destroyed these schools, they never put the money back into Africa to rebuild Africa. So it's our responsibility to not only rebuild Africa because of our moral karmatic right, but it's also another safe haven. It's also another home base for many of us to go to, because the grass is not always greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you cultivate it. And if we invest in Mother Africa, the universe light will come back to us and allow us to have a safe haven somewhere else in the world.
All right, real quick before we run out of time, how can people donate to the GoFundMe? How can people find more information? You can also post it on our Facebook group and on our wall, so we make sure people have the ability to donate.
Yes, when you go to GoFundMe, go to the search engine and put Revitalize Elmina School. The organizer will say Nana Rashad, but if you put in Revitalize Elmina School, Revitalize, Revitalize Elmina School, everything will come up. If you're the one person who donates, let's get at least a minimum of one donation out of this phone call. Please let you be the one. If it's more than one, great. But at least let's walk out with one donation from one of our great listeners in Atlanta and anybody else listening online from wherever you are in the world. The school needs you. I need you. It's very humbling of me to run a fundraiser like this, but it's going into good needs. And we also are providing awards, certificates, and notoriety for anyone who donates. We will definitely make sure that your donation and your generosity is well received and you will receive the proper recognition.
All right, thank you so much to Rashad McCrorey. Over in West Africa, we'll put the information on the GoFundMe on all of our social media. Make sure you donate. We're trying to build schools in Africa. We'll be back after the break. Call in 447-226-1380, News and Talk 1380 WAOK.